For decades upon decades, it seems like we have the same pattern of two things going up against each other, and everyone is very patriotic about it. For example, like this, and this, and this, and this, and this. But lately the craze has been for who is the best battle royale. Of course, back in the day, it was an easy answer. It was one of these. But now we have two new competitors. That of course being PUBG and Fortnite. People are so patriotic about this game that there was even this incident. And of course, if you go to school like me, you will see a ton of people arguing about this. You could be a kindergartner, it really could depend on your school because some people have stopped talking about it, but in some schools it just never goes away, at least for now. So here's what I saw mainly different in these two games. So the in general gameplay wise is very similar for both Fortnite and PUBG, but when you dig deeper, one of the differences that I noticed, the game kind of wants you, at least if it's your choice, to stay indoors a little bit more and to hide out. That's at least one tactic that I'd use all the time because there's a lot of flat lands. And in Fortnite, there's mostly hills and stuff, so that already covers you. Also, I realized I needed audio more in PUBG than I needed in Fortnite because sometimes I'd watch a video or talk to people as I'm playing both of these games. And when I'm listening to things outside of PUBG or Fortnite, I'd mute the games. And what I noticed is that I would die easier in PUBG because I wasn't listening. Hearing those echo shots is very important because then that can inform me if there's a fight going on. I could also hear if there's a car driving by, and by not hearing those things, I'm not prepared if there's someone nearby me. And I lose that advantage of knowing that there's someone here, but the other person has no idea that I'm here. That could be the same case in Fortnite, but it's not highlighted as much for me as it would be in PUBG. One time someone built some stairs and went up the roof and I had to listen for the footsteps, so there are moments when it happens in Fortnite, but not as common. So something recently new that was added to Fortnite was the Infinity Gauntlet mode, which gives you the ability to be Thanos if you possess his gauntlet, and it's everyone else's job to kill him, to get his gauntlet to become him again and again and again, while surviving against everyone else. The only special mode I can think of in PUBG is the zombies mode, which at first is a little bit slow for the zombies because there's only 4 humans and it's in this huge map, but after a while when the map gets smaller, that's when the fun begins. But for the humans' perspective, I bet it is a little bit scary and intense when the map is big and you can't really see any zombies yet. Also, it could take a little bit longer to get into a zombies map because there just aren't that many, and the ones that are usually have already started playing or they're locked. Now, there are a lot of people that say that PUBG is not optimized that well and that there's glitches and stuff. I've had one case of glitches, but I don't really think I have a right to say my experience on this because I haven't really had that many issues. Not saying that there aren't issues, but because I've never experienced this, I can't really tell you honestly because my computer's more powerful than the usual gaming PC, so it's not really fair. Although what I hear from other people, Fortnite is more optimized than PUBG, so yeah, don't shoot the messenger, but I really think it's something that everyone has a different perspective depending on the platform or on the power of their PC. I know in the past though, this was a very big issue for PUBG, especially when it came out on the One X, and that was really embarrassing, not just for PUBG, but for Microsoft. Thankfully though, that issue has been resolved and now it's at a usual frame rate, but even so, it seems that there's still people that are voicing concern about some issues on the Xbox One. But when it first came out on the One X, oh my god. Now speaking of all this surviving, health in PUBG is a little bit lower than it is in Fortnite. That or because the guns in PUBG are a little bit more powerful, because it always feels like it's a 1-hit or a 2-hit kill. That also varies amongst players. This is also one of the main reasons why it's so important to sometimes hide out in houses, because running around in the flat land is not going to help you. Now the barrier that you have to stay in, also referred to as the storm in Fortnite, is more powerful than it is in PUBG. It takes almost 2 minutes to die from being outside the barrier in PUBG. In Fortnite, it's only around 30 seconds-ish, 40 seconds give or take. But the advantage in Fortnite that I noticed is that you can outrun the storm. In PUBG, the only time that you can outrun this ring is when the ring stops, or if you have a car. In Fortnite, there's a lot of variety when it comes to items. For weapons, Fortnite makes it a little bit easier and categorizes them into different groups. Gray being common, green being uncommon, blue being rare, purple being epic, and orange being legendary. In PUBG, although you don't have this color indication, as the old saying goes, if you play Call of Duty, it doesn't mean that you're a weapons expert. So the same goes for PUBG. But yeah, in Fortnite, there's no really specific name that they use. Like in PUBG, they have the Vector and the S686 and the M416 and the AK-47. In Fortnite, for the most part, it's just in general names like assault rifles, shotguns, pump action shotguns, SMGs, just to name a few. While PUBG uses vests and helmets, Fortnite uses potions. There's also traps and other helpful things. But yeah, from what I noticed, PUBG seems to be focusing more on like a shooter simulator and trying to target that audience that is a little bit knowledgeable on guns, or people who like to have real life type guns, while it seems that Fortnite wants to focus on a different type of audience, one that doesn't really care that much about the guns and about the names. So one of the advantages in Fortnite is that you can build stuff, which gives a whole new challenge to the game, but Fortnite doesn't have any cars and vehicles like that. Although doing that would be extremely hard because the maps are not as flat as you would see in PUBG. And using cars in PUBG makes it a lot easier to drive around the map. It also decreases your chances of getting killed, depending on the players in the server really, because they could kill you. I think the main goal of the cars though was to keep you inside the game, because the maps in PUBG are a lot bigger than they are in Fortnite. So that's another reason also why there are no cars in Fortnite. But for the most part, if you're careful, at least for me, you'll get out safe. So with that being said, the way that Fortnite makes money of course is from V-Bucks, because there really is one or two ways that you can do it. You can complete quests, or you can just buy them, so they can customize their glider and their dance animation. For PUBG, it's kind of the same thing, although the way that you earn points in their game is just by playing and getting kills. And then when you get enough points, then you buy one of their crates, and then you have to buy a key. So it works similar to how Valve does their system, where you play, then you get a crate, and then you buy a key to open the crate. So this war reminds me of another quote, that quote being that war never changes. Very much obvious here. I already gave a million examples at the beginning, and this now just goes down in that bucket list of things that people will fight for, mostly forever. And the truth of the matter is that there's only one opinion that really matters when it comes to both of these games, and it's mostly yours. That's mostly why I never really express my opinion to the point where I say one of these wins, because there really is no winner or loser. What they're really doing is trying to target a particular audience that would like it. Like I said before, whether it would be with the guns or the gameplay, even going to the price. Some people are not willing to spend money and would rather get it for free. Personally, I do enjoy playing both of them, and I have my different reasons for playing both of them, but I would like to say where both of them went wrong. Although now it seems like PUBG has gotten better and better, their main problem was their first impressions. Because if you mess up your first impressions with whatever, yeah, things are not really gonna go that well for you. And PUBG is a really good example of that. Fortnite's big issue really is out of its control, kind of like with a lot of other things that go mega mainstream, like crazy mainstream. And yeah, that's kind of the thing. Fortnite is becoming so mainstream that there are some people that are kind of not playing it anymore, and don't really like it anymore because it's so mainstream. This has happened countless times to a lot of things that we liked, but there should be no shame at all in playing either of them.